Hello, everyone. If you are looking for Nimble and Salesforce release webinar, you are in the right place. Let's wait for a few more minutes for some more people to join, and then we will start. Yeah, I think we can start. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, depending on from which part of the world you have joined this webinar. Welcome, everyone. Today's webinar is all about how you can actually manage Salesforce and Nimble updates, releases, similarities between them, differences, and what we can do best to maximum utilize the release upgrades that we get. But before we start this exercise, I just want to launch this poll to get an opinion about what we are looking for here. So let's see what everyone answers for this. Are you on the latest Salesforce and Nimble update? Yeah. So I think we have got mixed reviews for it. We have got 50% saying that they know what exactly needs to update it and they have a plan, and then 50% are not unsure about what needs to be done. So I think let's get started. And okay, so before we start, let's understand how Salesforce and Nimble AMS releases are actually similar. Okay, so for both Salesforce and Nimble, the release dates are published for the entire year. Okay, so as we all know that Salesforce has 3 releases in a year, which is winter, spring, and summer. Nimble follows the same nomenclature, and it also does 3 releases in a year, which maps to your Salesforce releases. So we have 3 releases for Nimble AMS as well, which is winter, spring, and summer. Third similarity which is there is both the upgrades happen first on your sandbox environment, and the release date for the sandbox and the production is published on the release calendar for both Salesforce and Nimble AMS. Okay, so both Salesforce and Nimble AMS provide you at least a month to test out all the new features on sandbox before they actually do the upgrade on the production box. So you have sufficient time to test it out, but it's better to watch those dates. Fourth is that there is no downtime required for either Salesforce upgrade or Nimble AMS upgrade. Both are done without a downtime, so your business will not be impacted, and they will let you know when the upgrade is happening, and it generally happens within, like, it takes very less time to upgrade it, and there is no downtime. Fifth, very important point, and I think most of the users that we work with are confused. Both the upgrades are automatic. Okay, so you don't have any control on the upgrades. Nimble AMS as well as Salesforce do their upgrades, and it's automatic. So if you are in the winter release and they upgrade it to your spring release, so that will be automatically updated. You don't have any control on it. This is a very unique feature for Nimble AMS because Nimble AMS is the only association management software which provides an automatic upgrade. Other AMS systems like Pontiva or Salsa give you an option to upgrade when you are ready. But Nimble AMS does not give that an option. You have to upgrade it, and it's automatic. And this is because Nimble wants every org to be on the same version. They don't want to create confusions for it, and they don't leave it on the developers to upgrade the Nimble AMS newer version. So they do it automatically. Nimble AMS is followed by Salesforce releases. Nimble AMS always happens after a Salesforce release. And the reason behind is because Nimble AMS is actually built on Salesforce platform. So it has to wait for what is coming new in Salesforce, and then it rolls out its newer version. So generally there is a difference of around a month or a couple of months after the Salesforce when the Nimble AMS releases its version. So these are facts which I think most of our users are not aware of. They're not aware of that they have to upgrade the Nimble AMS system themselves, or it will be updated automatically. Whether there is a downtime, where can they find the release dates, right? So all these should be taken care of, because if you don't know these facts, you will be in trouble. You should know when the upgrades are happening. It has to be automatic. So it's always good to test those features in sandbox before they roll into production, because production upgrade is not in your hands. It will get automatic upgrade for that. So we should remember these features. And moving forward, as I told you, Nimble AMS follows the Salesforce release upgrade. Right now, you can see the examples of that. What we have done is provided it in a timeline. So if you see the Salesforce Summer 20 release date, these are the production dates that we are talking about. It got upgraded in May 2020. Okay. While this Nimble AMS Summer 20 release, it got into production in July 2020. Right. So you can see there is a gap of 1.5 and 2 months before Nimble releases the same Summer 20 release after Salesforce. Similarly, for Winter 21, it was released in September 2020. Same AMS, Nimble AMS Winter 21 version was released in October 2020. Moving forward, same pattern applies for the spring release. Spring 21 for Salesforce was released in March 21, and the Nimble AMS Spring 21 release was done on April 21. Now, the latest Summer 21 release for Salesforce, that is actually happened in June 21, and Nimble AMS Summer 21 release was released in July 21. Right, so you can see this pattern. Nimble AMS release has the same nomenclature as the Salesforce release, so that people can relate to it, and then it gives you sufficient time after the Salesforce release to test out things, right? And these dates are all published on Salesforce sites and the Nimble AMS help sites. For Salesforce, you can go to trust.salesforce.com to check the release calendar. Similarly, for Nimble, you can go to their help site, and it will actually give you the release dates for the next version. Okay, so be aware of these dates, be vigilant, and check them out. If you have a development team working for you for the upgrades or for the new features, remind them and try to understand the feature list, because they release the feature list a couple of months before the release, right? So it's always good to understand that. Now, what's the difference, right? We have got through the similarities. We know that Nimble AMS has the same nomenclature. It gets released after the Salesforce version, but the feature list that both of the systems provide is different, because as we know, Salesforce is a CRM and Nimble AMS is an association management software. So if there are any security updates that happen in Salesforce, that will apply to Nimble as well. If there are any reporting stuff that happen in Salesforce, that will apply to Nimble, because Nimble is built on Salesforce platform. So we have taken an example of the last Summer 21 release, which is the latest release for Nimble AMS, as well as the latest release for Salesforce. So what has come in Nimble AMS Summer 21 release? So we have just picked up 4 from each of them. So Nimble AMS Summer 21 comes with a health dashboard, which actually enables you to see what all features for that release you have enabled and what are disabled. We will further discuss that in the subsequent slides about what are the new features in Nimble AMS Summer 21. Similarly, they have provided a simple flexible payment strategy for all the members, which actually simplifies the payment process. Then you have an option to save payment methods for future reuse or to enhance staff experience. Similarly, they have integrated an event app called Pathable to provide a seamless integration with an event app. If you talk about Salesforce, we have got a facility to update the records in the reports using inline editing. What it does is you can open a report, you can change the date of the closure date, maybe contact name by just opening the report and editing it then and there, right? It saves time. You don't have to go to the record level to change it. So that is a unique feature that has come up with Salesforce Summer 21. Similarly, Salesforce has come up with metrics for the sales team, where you can actually track the opportunities, the closure date changes, and you can have a better visibility of your sales team to get good insights on what is happening in the sales, what you can do to improve it. A very remarkable feature is, and I think that was desired by a lot of users, was when you go to Salesforce dashboards and you print a performance, you see a performance dashboard or a health dashboard, you didn't have the ability to download that image so that you can actually share it with others, or you can use it in a PowerPoint presentation. So what Salesforce has given now is an ability to download the dashboard images so that you can use it elsewhere wherever required. Talking about security, we have got multi-factor authentication in Salesforce now, right, which has been happening, and they're actually promoting a lot. So multi-factor authentication is something that has come as a part of Summer 21 release. So the basic idea of demonstrating these features in this slide is just to analyze the difference between the features that happens in Nimble AMS and the Summer 21 Salesforce release. Though they are two different systems and two different features, but we have seen the similarities beyond that as well in before slides. So it's very important to understand the similarities that we discussed in the last slides, plus the feature difference that comes with each release. Now, if we move to Nimble AMS specifically and see the journey it has for the last 4 releases, every Nimble release, if you see, right, it comes with some kind of enhanced experience, either for members or for the users or for the staff. So it always tries to enhance some kind of experience so that it's more user friendly. And what it also does is try to fix the existing bugs that are there in the system. So if we see the Summer 20 release for Nimble AMS, it actually enhanced the purchasing experience for the members. Now, how it actually enhanced the purchasing experience was, they updated their Lightning store, which is actually used for selling products. What they did was provided the staff users with the flexibility to have rich text in the product so that they can provide more rich text on the product features. It also provided options to have subcategories in products. Okay, so if you are looking for a particular kind of product, you can actually go to the subcategories and find it, which is actually a very good purchasing experience for members. So that was one of the major themes that was built across Nimble AMS Summer 20. These are not only the features, there are many other features that were there, but this was the major theme for that. Similarly, if we talk about Nimble AMS Winter 21, what it did was it strengthened the engagement with chapter leaders and members. Now we know in an association, chapters are very important to have a local presence. So chapters are basically your chapter members, your chapter leaders are one who actually enhance your national role by creating chapters, by engaging members at local level, so that you have a better visibility at national level, because it all sums up to the national level. So for better engagement of chapter leaders and members, they have actually given staff a lot of access so that they can actually create chapters for the leaders. They can actually create portals where the leaders and members could interact with each other and have a better control on things. So it was just to strengthen the engagement with the chapter leaders and members, because chapters, members, and the leaders are very important to scale up your association. Similarly, in AMS Spring 21, their main theme was to improve the membership cancellation process. Now, before Spring 21, in Nimble, there was no feature where you can actually cancel the membership of members midway. So suppose your subscription for a member runs for an year and you want to actually request for a cancellation after 6 months. There was no way you could have canceled it. So in AMS Spring 21, what happened was they actually gave you a custom function which you can use to cancel the membership in the midterm, and all the refund and everything that used to happen can happen automatically. So this actually helped the staff users, because they used to get a lot of queries about how the memberships can be cancelled midway. Similarly, with AMS Summer 21, what they have done is they have enhanced the flexible payment methods to enhance user experience. So users can actually convert cards to their orders. They have improved the messaging system so that users can understand if they are doing scheduled payments on when the orders will be processed when they do a scheduled payment. We will talk more about it, about AMS Summer 21 release in the subsequent slides. But these were the major themes for the last 4 releases. And beyond that as well, if we talk before Summer 20, every Nimble AMS comes with a theme, right? So it's always good to see what are the key features that are available for a Nimble AMS and how we can actually benefit our members, how we can benefit our users, staff viewers, or your admins to better scale up the system and provide a better experience. Because ultimately, association management software is all about engaging members so that they have a lasting experience with us and we could collaborate more, like the chapter leaders and members strengthening, right? That could actually help you expand more, because local chapters are very important for enhancement and strengthening of your association. Now let's quickly look at the latest Nimble AMS Summer 21 features, what we can expect out of it. Now, if you see, these is very important. They have given a health metrics dashboard. Now, as you can see on the screen, we have numbered it, right? So this is a health report that you can get in Nimble AMS. So what is feature 1? Feature 1 is the list of features that are actually activated for your use, right? So if you see here, we have 4 columns. We have got feature, health metric feature, then what this feature does, then whether it's enabled in your org or not, and the release date of that feature. Okay, on which date was it released, and we are actually, have you enabled it or they have not enabled it. So like this one payment in staff view, as we are talking, this is a part of the Summer 21 release. So what it does is it pays for multiple orders at once. So you can do multiple, you can pay for multiple orders at once. And this was released in 30th June 2020. Now this column status, what it tells is whether this feature is enabled or not enabled in your org. Enabled means you are already using it and it's enabled. Status not available is something where it's not able to fetch the feature because there is testing going on or something like that. So it's always good to see what features are available. So this column 1 gives you a list of all the features, right, which are a part of your Nimble org. It can be in a part of Spring 21 release, a part of Winter 21 release, and you can get those numbers from here, from the release date, whether it was a part of summer release, or it was a part of winter release, or it was a part of spring release. Okay, so I would suggest that since every org for your Nimble is already on summer 21, use this feature to understand what all has been enabled in your org and how you can actually use it. Now, this is a second feature, which is what they have done is they have improved the messaging in the scheduled payments. Before summer 21, users were confused when they used to schedule a payment because they never knew when their order will be processed. So what Nimble has done is come up with an improved messaging feature so that user can understand it on the screen. So if you see this message, right, it says you have created a payment schedule. Order purchase processing date is January 15, 2021, right? And there is a note as well, which says any product membership in the order will only be reflected once the order purchase is processed. So the user knows, or the member knows, that his order will only be processed, right, when once the order is or purchase is processed. Right? So he will have no doubt. Similarly, if you see, there are very clear instructions on the schedule payment. It says by clicking schedule, a payment schedule will be created. Your order will not be processed until the first payment occurs, right? So it gives a comfort level to the member that, yeah, my payment schedule has been created and my order will only be processed once my first payment occurs. So there is no confusion. It does not have to connect the help desk for everyone because of the improved messaging features. So this actually enhances your member experience or a user experience. Similarly, whenever you go to a payment, you don't want to enter this credit card information or your debit card information every time, right? You want it to be reused because you are a regular member and you do a lot of payments. So you don't have time to fill in all these details again. So for all the membership sites, this save for future use checkbox was always there. But what they have done now is they have made it default as checked. Okay, so that sometimes what happens is you don't click this because you forget about it. And then again, when you are entering the second time, you again have to enter the credit card information. So what they have done is ease your task and provide an experience that even if you forget it, your card details are saved for future use. Because as we move enhanced in technology, we have to cater with all the young generation for associations that is coming, right? Because they want same member experience, same payment experience that they experience in other e-commerce sites. So Nimble AMS has come up with these features so that the process is faster and the user does not have to remember it every time. And it just enables you and you just have to do a one click to get it done. So a very good add-on feature enhances user and member experience. So as we talked about, so if you talked about this feature or you talk about the scheduled payments, improved messaging feature or the health metrics, they all are related to enhanced user experience, right? They are very simple changes, but it enhances your member experience by multiple fold. Now, once you are doing this upgrade, right, there are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind. The things that you have to keep in mind before upgrade and things you have to keep in mind post upgrade, because the upgrade happens itself, right? You don't have to upgrade the system. Nimble AMS takes care of it. And similarly, Salesforce takes care of it. So you don't have to upgrade the system, but you have to keep certain things in mind before the upgrade and after the upgrade. Now, before upgrade, what you have to see is analyze if there are any new fields or objects that are added, or there are some fields or objects which are no longer valid. So ask your development team, whoever is supporting you, to analyze that what is something that is new that is added and something that is no more relevant. So this analysis is very important. Similarly, with the new upgrade, sometimes your reports and dashboards that you had on your old system might get impacted because of new fields that are coming and because of some fields that are not all relevant. So it's always good how your reports and dashboards will be impacted with the new upgrade. Then, as you know, it's not just the AMS that your organization is using. You may have multiple other systems or a third-party apps you might be using. So you may be using a marketing tool which is integrated with your AMS. You might be using an accounting system which is actually integrated with your AMS. So you have to make sure that with this new upgrade feature, that your third-party integrations are not impacted. And if they are impacted, what do you need to do to avoid those kind of disruptions? Then obviously, it's very important, though it is an automatic upgrade, Nimble does its testing of the releases, but it's very important to understand the use cases that are going to get affected and prepare a documentation before the upgrade so that when the upgrade happens, you are able to test out the system and see that all these three things that I've talked about, your reports are not getting impacted, your third-party apps are not getting impacted. So you should have test cases in place before the upgrade happens. Now, so your post upgrade actually maps to your pre-upgrade. So once you have done your test phase documentation and the upgrade happens, obviously you should test your environment in production to see that everything is working well, because your production environment is something that your members are using and they are your revenue earning people, so they should not get impacted. So no matter how confident you sound about the upgrades, you should always do a basic test first. In most of the times, we have found that generally users are not prepared for it. They don't test the system. And as and when the things fail, they report it and get it done. So that is not the right way of working. You should be a step ahead. You should actually test your system. No matter if it's a simple release or it's a 2-feature release, the system needs to be tested. Then once you test the system, you will realize whether your reports and dashboards are actually working in the same fashion or not. And if there is some kind of refactoring or recoding required in the reports to get things back into shape. Obviously, again, you have to test the third-party apps that they are working well, because if they don't work well, then the data will not flow between your AMS and the third-party apps that you have integrated. So as an example, if you have integrated your accounting system with your AMS, all your payment stuff data will not flow into your accounting system, and then how will you create invoices, and it will be a mess. So always test that, very, very important. Right? And always take note of the upcoming changes for your end users, because your end users don't know whether the upgrade has happened or not. For them, it's just one system that they are using, right? They may see some enhanced features, they may encounter some problems. So it's always good to educate the users that an upgrade has happened. And if there are any issues, give them assurance that we are working on that and we will take care of it. And if there are any new features that have been added, they need to be aware of. You should actually train them on that. So it's very important, all these things. These are small things, but if we do it well, we enhance our member experience. Though Nimble is already taking care of enhancing the member experience, but it's your org, it's your members, you also have to take care of it. Then this is a replica of what we discussed in the last slide. These are basic checklists, right? You can have many more items into it, but this is what we feel should be the topmost priority and at least a basic checklist for you that you should do. whenever there is a release, there are a lot of features that are released for Nimble, as we discussed in the health dashboard as well, where you have seen that there are some features that are enabled, there are some features which are not enabled. If you go back to this, to this health dashboard, right? You see features not enabled, features enabled, right? So this is something that you have to take care of. You have to see which features are not enabled and whether you need them or not. And you need to see which features are enabled and educate your users about it. So this is what I was talking about. Browse and prioritize features that will meet your organization goals. So if there is a change in the user experience feature, in the cancel membership feature, you should know that a cancel membership feature has been introduced in Nimble AMS, and we can use that to enhance staff experience. But if you're not aware of it and you have not enabled it, then obviously you cannot use it. So make sure that you align the feature list and prioritize it so that it meets your organization goals. Configure and test drive new features in Sandbox, very, very important. Enable them, see what is required, test them out, make sure that they're not impacting your reports and dashboards, make sure that they're not impacting your third-party apps, and just use them. Analyze customizations and impact of the upgrade on your existing reports and third-party integrations. Very true, like we discussed in the last slide. The major impact that happens with each upgrade is either on reports or on third-party integrations. And that is the tested stuff. We have got a lot of complaints from our customers that our reports are not working, our integrations are not working. And that is something that needs proactiveness before a release happens. You have to be prepared for the upgrade before it happens. You have to study the features, because all the features get released and there is a release note that comes with every release a month ago, and that is sufficient time to analyze and get it going, right? You should not leave these things to the last minute. Similarly, make sure that you are testing the revenue impacting updates in Sandbox before making the changes in production. Never do a change in production before testing it in Sandbox. All the changes, because as I told you, every release for Nimble or Salesforce happens in Sandbox before they move it to production. So it's our responsibility that once the upgrade has been done on Sandbox, we test it thoroughly so that we know that once it moves to production, we will not have any issues. If we have any issues in Sandbox, we should fix them then and there and deploy those changes or upgrades to production before the actual upgrades happen in production. Okay, so this is something that we can do. It just needs a little bit of vigilance and proactiveness, and things can be much better. Then most important, train your staff and end users. So you have to train your staff, because staff are the people who are going to use the system, and your end users are the people who are going to use the system. So staff should know what all new features are there. Like if a staff does not know how to cancel a membership midterm, right, how will he do it? So it's something that we do train them, that if you have to use this, there is a custom functionality that we need to activate, and you will see that cancel membership button, and you can then cancel the membership. Similarly, for users, they should know that they have an option now that they can request for a cancel membership midterm. Okay, so it's both ways. You have to train the staff and you have to train your users for better staff experience, better user experience, and overall very good experience. So I think this checklist is very important. Every org should have it before the upgrades. And these are key things. No one is going to tell you all these things. And if you think you have any confusions, I think you can contact us and we can guide you on how to do these things, because we have done this a lot and we are still doing it for a lot of our clients. So feel free to take our help. And I think this is what we have for today. If you have any questions or you need any kind of guidance, you can contact us at 888-683-8281. Aplusify is actually a service provider where we take care of all the support services for our clients in terms of association management softwares, or in terms of Salesforce, in terms of upgrades, data health checks, data migration. So we do a lot of stuff, and in case of any kind of help and guidance, we will be very happy to help you in guiding you on how to do it, because we believe that if you don't have sufficient resources or help at your end, it's always good to ask from others who are an expert on it, rather than trying to do it yourself and breaking things. We have got a lot of clients who have done this before and then come to us for guidance. So we would be happy to help. And if there are any questions, you can post in the question and answers if you have, and we can wait for a few seconds if you have. Let me see. So I think one of the questions that someone has asked is, Fontiva does not have automatic upgrades while Nimble has, and answer to that is yes. I think before I started in the first slide, if you go to the first slide where we started about the similarities between Nimble AMS, we said that both upgrades are automatic for Salesforce as well as Nimble, which is not true for other AMSs, because other AMS gives you the flexibility to upgrade yourself, right? And they do not upgrade automatically. Like Fontiva gives you a flexibility to upgrade whenever you want to. So your development team or you yourself have to upgrade it. But with Nimble, the best thing is you don't have to upgrade. And I think I like it in that fashion because everyone was in the same version, right? You don't need to worry about the version. It's automatic. It's if you are on summer 21, you are on summer 21. If it is spring 22, you'll be on spring 22. You don't need to worry about the upgrades. I think the only thing you need to worry about is the checklist and the testing that we talked about. This is very important. The checklist that we have for upgrades. This is very important. We have one more question, and I think, what is it? Yeah, that is, how can we measure the, okay, how can we see that what all features have been enabled and not enabled, right? So I think, as we talked about in this stuff, we have got something new on this health metrics, where if you see, you can get a list of features which have been enabled and the features which have not been enabled, and you can enable them, right? You can go to the configure settings and enable it, because Nimble gives you the flexibility to enable and disable a feature. So if you don't require it, you can disable it. If you require it, you can enable it, depending on whether you want to use this feature or not, right? So if you see point of sale, Nimble AMS point of sales feature along with hosted, they have not enabled it because they may not require it. So it's up to you and your business to cross-check all these features and see if they actually help you meeting your organization goals. And it's not necessary that you have to enable that feature at that particular release. So if it is Lightning Store and this release date was there in 31st October 2019, you can enable it afterwards as well, right? Whenever you want. So Nimble gives you that flexibility to enable that feature when you want it. So you may want it to enable it after 3 months, which is fine. But you need to analyze what you have to enable and not enable. That depends on you, right? And you can ask your development team, you can talk to your business, you can talk to your users, you can talk to your staff members on whether you want to enable it or you want to disable it, or whether that feature will actually help you in enhancing your experience. So it's up to you, right? But whatever you do, make sure that you test it out. Whenever you enable a feature, make sure that you are testing it out and training your users about it, making sure that your reports are not impacted, and making sure that your third-party apps are not impacted. Yeah. So I think that is what we have. And as I told you, feel free to email us or phone us at vcare@aplusify.com. We can help you in whatever way you want in terms of guidance or any kind of consulting you are looking for, in terms of upgrades, in terms of implementation, in terms of data cleansing, in any kind of support activity where you need our guidance. We are always available. So Thank you everyone for joining this webinar, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.